of course, we're going to ask you about other names as well. It can't all just be Isak. The other name that comes out, which I know you've done videos and bits on, Marc Guéhi, Crystal Palace captain. It was interesting that David Ornstein had this in his deal sheet yesterday about, the market opportunity, that if it's not Guéhi, it does seem like there won't be another centre-half after Giovanni Leone. And literally this one as well, if he leaves Palace, Guéhi only has eyes for Liverpool. Is that your understanding, that Guéhi is literally Liverpool or nothing? And are we still at haggle situation with Palace?
Certainly this summer it's Liverpool or bust. I think that it's very unlikely, if he does stay this summer, I think it's very unlikely that he'll sign a new contract. And then it's just whether Liverpool are still at the table this time next year. I think realistically, I think it would probably be, I don't know if they need him now. So it might even be worth waiting and getting him on a free next summer. Almost maybe doing a bit of a deal with him behind the scenes to get him on a free next summer. But I was sort of told last week that that they were closing in on making a deal, and then something just happened. I think Steve Parish just thought, actually, hold on a minute, let's see what we can do with this. But as I've said on here before, this is their last chance to sell, and obviously Palace, they're a decent sized club, but they are a selling club, and they know they're a good club as well. They know their sort of place in the food chain. So I think they do need to sell him. But the only problem is, if they're selling Eze as well, are they really going to want to sell their two best players in the same week with not really that much lined up in terms of replacements? But I do think, it's Liverpool or bust. He wants to come now. It's just whether Parish will budge on that 45 million valuation, and it is, and you do have to take him and Eze together, because if they weren't selling Eze, then I think he would definitely say, all right, we'll do a deal. The fact they've got money coming in for Eze means they don't need any more money coming in. So again, a weird one, the Guéhi deal, but he definitely wants to move, and Liverpool are still lurking in the background. Well, maybe more than in the background. They've held more talks in the last few days. It's just whether they can sort of meet halfway and shake hands.
I suppose with incomings, before we move to the outgoing side, it does feel like Liverpool don't like the yellow tie jobs. We're not a deadline day club, don't they? They want to be smart, get their business done early. But it does seem to be the case from everything that's coming out. Isak and Guehi are the two. There doesn't seem to be any alternatives, and it might be right down to the deadline for these two.
Yeah, I think it probably will be. Because I think I said on it was probably on it. It might have been on my own channel about a month ago that the Guehi one is one that could have gone right down to deadline day, and it looks like it probably will. And yeah, they signed Chiesa late last summer. The summer before, was it? They signed Gravenberch quite late in the window.
Yeah.
The summer before, I can't remember, to be fair, but they definitely signed Endo and Gravenberch in that last week of the window, or last 2 weeks. Gravenberch definitely, because I remember I was in the pub writing it up at 9 p.m. or something. And Chiesa was a last-minute thing last summer, so I don't think they're against doing the yellow tie deals. And if it means that they can get a better deal, I think it's worth the wait. The Isak one obviously is just going to keep rumbling on. But, if Newcastle suddenly can pull the finger out and get them two strikers, then I'm sure Liverpool will just put the money on the table. And if Palace show any inclination to reduce their asking price, then again, I'm sure Liverpool will do it, because they want Guehi, they do like him, and they are bearing in mind the fact that Virgil is not getting any younger, and Konate is still not resolved his contract situation. Gomez is injury prone, and Leone's only 18, so maybe that Guehi would be nice, especially when you look at his own injury record, his status as an England international, a good leader, he's the Palace captain, won the FA Cup. So I think 35 million is a very good deal if they can do that. But it's just whether they think we don't need him. We're not desperate for him. We can get him on a free this time in 12 months. Might be better for the finances. But let's see what happens.
Get your yellow ties ready, people. By the sounds of it, it feels like it's going to go that way. And I'd actually give a shout out to this. That was a good article, and it is getting ignored a little bit of how well Liverpool sell, especially when you look at other clubs who aren't selling that well in the marketplace as well. So we've got to turn towards sales. I mean, Harvey Elliott, 1,001 links after the Euros, mention of Red Bull and different bits. This just sounds like it's going quiet a bit on Harvey. Is that one that could rumble right down to deadline day as well?
Yeah, it's gone a bit quiet this week on Harvey because a few clubs showed an interest last week and the week before. But when I last asked, there's been no official offers or no new contact in the last 2 or so weeks. So I don't know whether a club would be willing to pay that 40 to 50 million that Liverpool want. But maybe it's a case of, and also Harvey has to agree to the deal as well. He can't flog him to somewhere for the sake of flogging him. One of the clubs that are in for him is Palace of all people. So maybe that could be an interesting thing. Just saw an email just come through. Alan Shearer's statement on Alexander Isak's statement. So that'll be nice, interesting reading when I finish this call. Sure he's happy. But yeah, Harvey's gone quiet. And again, Tsimikas, they've not had much in terms of bids yet. So, but they have masterminded selling players this summer. Some people will say maybe they've sold one too many players, but that has sort of enabled them to spend so much money. So it swings and roundabouts. If they hadn't sold Diaz, for example, then maybe they wouldn't have had the money to sign whoever. And if they hadn't sold Ben Doak, then the balance sheets wouldn't have been the same to spend so lavishly. So they would have known they were selling all these players months ago. And they've done well to get as much money as they have for some of them.
Yeah, no doubts about it at all. And yeah, Alan Shearer, who criticised Milos Kerkez in his role in the last 2 goals when he was off the pitch as well. So I'm sure that'll be a riveting read for you when you get to it. And you did mention a couple there that Doak, I mean, that seems a great bit of business to get 25 million for a guy that I think it was 600 grand he was originally. And the last one I did want to talk about, because this is the full switch around of the summer. Chiesa was, we've talked about this, it all seemed inevitable he was departing. Yeah. You said there that line, had they sold one too many? Is that the case, you think, why Chiesa's maybe staying? Or is it just circumstances or something different?
It's probably a bit of both. And I still wouldn't say it's 100%, but it does seem more likely now. He obviously scored on Friday. He won the game with Liverpool. So that certainly doesn't harm his chances of Slot wanting him to stay. Slot spoke after the game. I asked him, does this mean Chiesa will stay? And he did sort of smirk when I asked him, which sort of made me think at the time, like, yeah, he's getting sold tomorrow, isn't he? But then he follows it up by saying it doesn't, something along the lines of what I just said, it doesn't harm his chances, the fact that he scored, contributed so well off the bench. So maybe his role is more of a sort of impact sub, but he certainly didn't do enough last season, and he's got a lot of people to prove. I know the fans love him for various reasons, but on the pitch, he does have a lot to prove. But yeah, in terms of selling one too many, they are still light in that front three. You know, how much can you rely on a Rio? What happens if Hugo Ekitike gets injured? You know, questions like this. I wouldn't have been surprised if they kept Ben Doak until deadline day or until they got to sign him, but obviously he's gone now, so that won't happen. So yeah, I do think they're a bit light, but Slot does have a knack of making things work, because obviously last season we all said they're a bit light in midfield, as I said, I think last week, and you know, no one's talking about that now. So maybe he'll do the same with the forward line if they don't sign anyone. But I still think that they will be trying as hard as they can to sign a forward between now and the deadline next week or the week after.
Does it feel that way? Time will tell on that one. And